Well, the hits just keep on coming here. Welcome back to the Truro Saints Rugby Club just outside Truro, Nova Scotia. Our continuing coverage of the 2018 Atlantic Canadian Rugby Championships. I'm Scott Squires and very pleased to be joined alongside by Jack Hanratty. Jack, welcome to the broadcast. You wear many hats. I know one of them is looking after all of the Nova Scotia Celtics squad, one of which playing right now. We've got U18 women's action, the Nova Scotia Celtics taking on the PEI squad. PEI wearing their black and green hoop kit with the white trim. The Celtics wearing those smart-looking dark blue with the gold numbers on the back. PEI going left to right, Nova Scotia right to left. Glad to have you on board.
It's finally nice to sit down and just watch some rugby.
I know, first of all, I want to say congratulations on your recent announcement as being named head coach of the Canadian U20 women's team. I know you got an exciting test match coming up in August against England, so that'll be an exciting time for you.
Yeah, I'm certainly looking forward to it. USA are joining us as well, so it's going to be a Tri-Nations International Series, which is really exciting. England are probably one of the world's best, and it's always nice to have to be with your rivalry in the against the USA.
And I know in this particular weekend, so many teams for you to keep an eye on. As we see Nova Scotia making a nice run now. What a great start for the Celtics! Yeah, into the end zone. That's number 9, Justin Blatt-Janmat. And Justine, that's a heck of a run, and she's one of your younger players, I believe.
Yeah, Justine is certainly a talent from the Valley, Horton High School. Not only has she been is a captain here of the under-18 team, but she's also been making a couple of appearances for the senior women's team this season. So there's not many 17-year-olds that can wear that hat.
Well, what a run she just made there, and a great start for the Celtics out of the gate to put a couple of points up on the board and to jump out to a nice early lead. Now, just to finish that thought, you also have a significant role with Rugby Nova Scotia. Many teams you're keeping an eye on here. I know at the U18 level, you got a couple of squads. You got a U16 women's team as well, a U18 men's team, the senior women. Have you had time to even take a breath this weekend so far?
No, it's one of the busiest times of year, obviously, but it's great when you see so many squads wearing Celtics blue. It's also you got to take a little bit of time, step back, and just look at all these players and just enjoying wearing and representing their province.
Well, it's certainly a good start for your Celtics there.
Yeah, this is a good side. They've already travelled to Ireland on a pre-season tour. Obviously, they have their development squad underneath them as well, and the Abbeys had a really good result this morning against the other Nova Scotia team. So obviously, there's a little bit of sisterhood there that are trying to get one back over the PEI rivals.
Here come the Celtics again, making a nice run. They take that ball out quickly. PEI trying to regroup here. Celtics will keep on coming. Here's another nice run.
It's a lovely offload by Justine Blatt-Janmat and Maddie Haroon right there looking for the offload. Catherine Brennan is right there on her shoulder.
Such a great start here for the Celtics. I think they might know that you're doing the broadcast here, Jack. They're trying to impress you. Give you lots to talk about.
And I know afterwards they'll be doing the video reviews, so I better be careful in what I say.
That's right. Careful what you say. It's going to be on video.
It's a good, clean ball, and if the Celtics go quick, there could be an opportunity, and Justine Blatt-Janmat, as soon as we say it, is in for her second score.
Well, what a great start for Justine. And I know actually one of your other players who wasn't able to make it this weekend, Alexa McLean, she actually messaged me yesterday. I think her terminology, I'm paraphrasing, Buzz, was that Justine is a beast.
Yeah, absolutely. They would have played together, and when Alexa would have seen this youngster rip through and couldn't believe the tender age of 17, or recently 18.
So the conversion attempt now looking to boost that Celtics lead once again. Pretty good position for this conversion try. Line drive kick. And it goes through Katie Cox. I don't know what the exit velocity was on that, Jack, but she wasn't messing around. She drilled that through.
Yeah, it's great to see Katie in wearing the number 10 shirt. She was part of our U16 program last year, always known for her boot. And she's been an excellent kicker for not only Nova Scotia, but also Lockview Dragons, where she went to high school.
So get things re-racked here. PEI certainly behind the 8 ball early against this very aggressive Celtics team.
Good opportunity for them here, though. Celtics unable to secure the kickoff, and it's a really great attacking position for the PEI backline.
Scrum now just on the Nova Scotia side of the pitch. See if PEI can control here coming out of this scrum. Good job getting back on defense as well. And that's the one thing, you can get off to a good start offensively, but then you've got to be able to transition and control on the defensive side as well.
Yeah, and a good start from PEI. Tori Hogan coming into the line. She actually played with the Nova Scotia team last year at Nationals when the under-18s went and won their historic silver medal at Nationals. Tori Hogan was very much a big part of that squad. So it's great to see her coming into the line so early.
We talked about in other broadcasts, you know, just how deep the talent pool is here on the women's side of the bracket in rugby in Nova Scotia. I mean, at the U18 side, as we see that line out controlled by Nova Scotia, but 2 teams here at the U18 side, these U16 Celtics looking strong. The senior women, I mean, just depth up and down the lineup. How satisfying is that, I guess, for Rugby Nova Scotia when they see that kind of talent coming up through the pipeline, especially at the grassroots level, Jack?
I think, yeah, in terms of women's, obviously men's is another story and a different topic, but in terms of women's rugby, you've got to pay a lot of tribute to the quality female coaches that we have involved as well. There's a lot of emphasis going around the country trying to make female coaches a priority. We don't need to hear. We've got really top quality young female coaches that have created an excellent system right from U16s to senior women.
I saw a pretty familiar face, speaking of coaches of good female sides. The coach of St. FX women's rugby, I think I saw taking in some of the action here earlier, Mike Kavanagh.
Yeah, I think, you know, probably one of the biggest compliments you could pay provincial rugby is by the amount of Atlantic Canadians that are now playing varsity, and Mike doesn't have to go all the way over, and Matt Durant as well with Acadia and Amber Davison with SMU. They don't have to go around all the country to get some talent. They can do it right in their own backyard, and I think that's a real compliment to the coaches as well.
So we've got a scrum over on that far side on the PEI end of the field.
Good scrum by Nova Scotia. It's going to be a turnover. They should move it quick.
And they get it up out of there. Bobbled it just for a moment. Goes down. Nova Scotia recovers quickly, though. There's a nice little pass. Run now over on this near side, trying to find the corner. Turn around. Nice little pass there to get it back into the hands of Olivia Pinio. That was a good initial run by Catherine Brennan. So Brennan and Pinio combine well there to get the ball down deep into the corner.
Brennan, one of actually Mike Kavanagh's recruits, going to St. FX next year. Excellent run there. And what's really nice is to see the players come back off the touchline. So many years would you have seen towards that touchline be knocked out of bounds and the game getting slower. Here in this tournament, you see every team really coming aggressively off that sideline, trying to keep the ball alive as much as possible.
Now, while this game is going on, I know there's another game very much of interest for viewers of the live. It's the second semifinal On the men's U18 side, taking place between New Brunswick and Newfoundland and Labrador, we've got Owen Hutchison from the Truro Saints Rugby Club going to attempt to get us some updates on the score, so we'll do our best to keep you apprised of that game as we move along. Meanwhile here, an important game on the U18 side as well. And look at the Celtics once again. Leah Matheson makes the run, and she gets in. Just a great open field run there by Leah Matheson, showing some really good speed when she saw the open field, Jack.
Yeah, and you always pay tribute to the backs for finishing something off, but you have to go back to the set piece there. Nova Scotia was able to turn over the scrum, and that allowed the Celtics to counter while PEI backline was transitioning from attack to defence, and you gotta love when a person's first instinct is just go forward. Well spotted, really well taken gap by a new Celtic.
Well, that's the interesting thing, certainly, as we wait for this conversion attempt, but with the senior Celtics, is just the number of different weapons that are up and down the lineup. It's not just one or two players that can hurt you offensively. It's 5, 6, 7, and so far we've seen a number of different Celtics on this U18 team show really good offensive flair. And the latest, as you mentioned, was Leah Matheson, and St. FX will certainly welcome her into a very well-run program. And another conversion kick is good. So tag 2 more points on.
Big windy day. It's tough, no kick, and the viewers at home probably won't be able to hear the wind, but won't be able to see the wind and just how big it is. Katie Cox, it's not an easy kick in front of the post today. It's a real stiff breeze. It's well played by her. She's had 3 kicks at goal already, 2 being successful, and the other one being a really good strike on it from a difficult position. So good start from the Celtics number 10.
She's going to listen back to this when you're reviewing the film. She's going to have a big smile on her face right about now when she hears that, you know.
I know. And when they're doing their film review, let me just tell you that they listen strongly and either agree with your opinion, Scott, or they do not. And I'm surprised. I don't know whether you've gotten feedback from day one. No?
No, I've just gotten some smiles.
Because you've got some sassy teenagers that I'm sure will give you an opinion.
I've gotten shunned a few times, but that's nothing new for me, so I don't really think about it.
Yeah.
Flip to the other side. You know, it's been a good start here for the Celtics now, but for the PEI U18 side, you know, they've kind of been under an onslaught here early. What do they need to do to kind of turn it around here as we're getting, you know, deep into this first half?
Yeah, look, they've got some excellent players here, and some that have been around for quite a while of experience. Craig Inward, the head coach, has managed to bring a group to New York Sevens to get some great experience there. They've got an exciting backline, and just winning the scrum battle at the moment, that's a real issue because it means that your backline is already going backwards before it gets in.
Well, one player that I saw earlier today that really impressed me on PEI was number 15, Tori Hogan. I thought she had a really strong game for PEI. But speaking of strong game, here come the Celtics again. Nice carry there up the field by Courtney Ells. She got tugged on the jersey just a little bit, but she kept the forward momentum going. Bit of a ruck form there, but they get it off the ground quickly. And look at Kennedy Verge. Verge powering her way down the field.
Another one of Kavanagh's recruits next year. She did a great job. And it's a penalty to the Celtics. Justine slowing it down just a little bit. Strange for her. But now she's picked up the pace again, and here goes Maddie Herone.
Maddie Herone, another strong player for this U18 Celtic side. Again, just up and down the lineup. It again bodes so well for the senior program with so many good players coming up through the pipeline.
Yeah, I mean, 2 of these starters have already made, as Kennedy Verge goes in, it's going to check with the touch judge, Thomas Krebs, and tries awarded. Yeah, as I was saying there, Scott, 2 of this U18 team has already made a senior women's debut this year in Chloe Claroux and, of course, Justine, who we already spoke about. And that bodes well. And it's nice to have another program to aspire to grow into. And that's something that's really important with all the Celtics teams. You want to grow into it. And a credit to the PEI as well. It's the same there. There's obviously some fantastic work going in Charlottetown Rugby Club, which is only in its 2nd year of existence, but all the youngsters really want to get involved. They really want to play there, and that's exactly what you want from a younger program. Somewhere where you're aspiring to be, and hopefully it's not just provincial, but it's also to go on and represent Canada in women's rugby.
So Katie Cox again will line up this kick, and to your point, The wind, it's a constant here pretty much at the Truro Saints Rugby Club. A couple of times we've actually had a shot of someone getting ready to kick a conversion attempt from closer to the sideline, and we've been able to reference the flag behind or near the player. You can see just how strong that wind is, but this wind right now basically cutting right across the field, and it would be right in the face of Katie Cox as she gets ready for this conversion attempt. Nice low kick, just underneath the bar. Not a bad attempt. She had good distance, just didn't get quite enough lift on it.
It's kind of been a constant theme in this championships, is the kicker taking the kick just a little bit further, and maybe that's because of the nature of or the worry of being charged down by the defensive line there. But Katie had an option to bring it a little bit closer to the post, and the line was great, the height was good, it just died down a little bit quicker. So maybe next time just bringing it a couple of feet towards the post would actually help.
So a nice lead here, and I know we're getting close to halftime, and usually we'll step aside and play some of our ads and promotions for our sponsors. But if you don't mind, Jack, I'd like to keep you on headset here for a few minutes at the halftime, just to talk a little bit about your experience and what's coming up with the U20 Canadian side, and we'll talk some more about some of the international stuff and another big event coming up in August, the Eastern Canadians.
Sure, not a problem.
And we just had a score update handed to us from that other U18 men's semifinal. It's a very good start for Newfoundland and Labrador. They're up 24-0 at the half. And look, another big run here coming from another Celtic. This time, it's Tay Tynes.
Yeah, an excellent run. The thing you like about that is excellent run up the touchline by Chloe Carew. Good quick ball and a good line by Maddie Roan, and was able to offload to Tay, who of course went to the same high school as Maddie, and the two of them linked up just like they did all high school season. The two players who went on to win the Nova Scotia provincial banner this year, and a really great leg drive by again a new Celtic.
So Tay Tynes, yet another player for the U18 Celtics to score a try here today. That pushes the lead to 29-0. And again, just a quick update if you missed it just a moment ago, the other men's semifinal taking place in the U18 bracket. Newfoundland and Labrador up 24-0 over New Brunswick at the half. So Newfoundland and Labrador right now looking good to move on and advance and play another Celtic squad, the Nova Scotia men's U18 team, in tomorrow's gold medal game. And
what a quality game that semi-final was between PEI men's team, who, I mean, obviously I'm a bit biased and I was delighted with the win, but my God, it was an excellent semi-final, and even their regular pool game this morning was, again, excellent. Only a couple of points in both games, and PEI can be really proud of what they're doing here at this championships.
And that is a nice effort again, but just a little bit short. Had the right line.
If I wasn't wearing a headset right now, Scott, I would be giving a little bit of advice to Katie. So I did stop myself though, which is strange for me.
Well, we have overheard some of your urging and coaching from the sidelines through the first day and a half here.
Like a protective, slightly older brother.
Well, listen, I know I get a chance to talk to a lot of the players, not just with this U18 Celtics team, but right across rugby in general. And I know that you're fairly modest, but really what you've done for rugby in Nova Scotia has been tremendous, right from the grassroots, young level, right up through the seniors. It's a real nice thing to be able to have someone of your caliber,
What's wrong with Owen?
Coaching these kids along. Well, Owen's a great guy too. We can talk a little bit about Owen, but
I'm actually wondering if like some professional companies will be coming in on a regular basis to have him on some cable channel to have his own show at this stage, Scott. Maybe you can be a sidekick.
Well, I told him we should have a 24-hour live stream camera, just kind of like Ed TV, but chat with Owen, or Owen TV. And here's another nice run down the sideline, a couple of quick passes. Floats, and smart heads up play as they'll run it over to the middle, and Catherine Brennan with another try, and again set up nicely through the various phases and then open down the sideline. Brennan makes the run, sets up the nice kick now because of the setup, hopefully Katie Cox hits this one for you on
Yeah,
the conversion.
that was a great try. I mean, you got to hand it to Olivia Pino, who ran up the wing there, which was absolutely fantastic. The timing and the execution in joining the line from Catherine Brennan. That's one thing she did all high school season. It's great to have her involved here today. And the drop kick taken by Katie Cox, she wants to keep playing. And in a sunny day at home, in a home game at Atlantic Championships, why wouldn't you?
Well, that extends the lead now to 38. It's been all Celtics here in this first half. PEI have been under pressure right from the outset. This PEI U18 women's team just has not been able to get their game set at all in terms of getting any kind of offensive thrust going. This Celtics team has been just like a juggernaut pushing through, and here they come again. Able to use power up the middle, and if you need to spread it out to the wings, you've got speed down the wings again. And right now, PEI doing all they can, but just having a hard time keeping up with this hungry U18 Celtic squad.
Yeah, and I have a feeling it's going to be a penalty here. Kennedy Verge just made the contact. The ball wasn't really close. Her aggression getting in her way. And PEI will have a chance now to get down into the Celtics area, use this wind, and maybe one more go before half-time.
So not much time left here in this first 20-minute half. The U18 Nova Scotia Celtics up by a big margin at this point. And again, it's been tough for PEI. They haven't really been able to kind of get any offensive game organized. Nova Scotia controls off that line out. Nice dart right up the middle, and there they go. They've shown that they can go on the wings. They show that they can go up the middle, and another good run there, about 30 meters from Courtney Els.
And they want to move this. If they move it 3 passes, there could be a nice opportunity here.
And here we go again. This is Matheson, Leah Matheson, into the wide open spaces and into the end zone. And as you would expect, run it to the middle, touch it down, another try. And Leah Matheson on the board, scoring up and down this Celtics lineup as they extend the lead once again. And you've got to feel a little bit right now for PEI. You know they want to give it their all. They don't want to hang their heads, but it's got to be tough right now to feel this pressure from the Celtics.
Really impressed by Courtney Els, just striking that through the middle as much as she could. Good leg drive and an excellent ability to go wide. They didn't click as much as they were in that first game against New Brunswick. There was a few maybe nerves. There was a few girls that are still learning the systems, but have to say that was probably the best 20 minutes from a Nova Scotia side we've seen over the weekend.
Yeah, that was a stunning 20 minutes of play from the Nova Scotia Celtics. They have a 43-0 lead over PEI. So we're just going to take a quick break, but we're going to come right back with you and chat for just a minute, Jack, before we move on to the second half. You're watching the 2018 Atlantic Canadian Rugby Championships live from the Truro Saints Rugby Club in Truro, Nova Scotia. At the half, it's Nova Scotia Celtic leading PEI 43-0. We'll be back. The 2018 Atlantic Canadian Rugby Championship proudly brought to you by Subway. Make it what you want. Wilson's Propane. It's for more than just barbecues. Truro Nissan. Innovation that excites. Events and conference services at Dalhousie Agricultural Campus, offering year-round one-stop shop services. And by Firm Foundation Media. your content built on a firm foundation. We are back here, just halftime of this U18 women's matchup between Nova Scotia and Prince Edward Island. And Jack, while we have a moment here, we talked about recently as the head coach of the Canadian under-20 women's team. What does that mean to you, and what is, I guess, task one now that you've taken over that role?
Yeah, task one was to put our staff together. So I'm delighted to say that I put a staff full of people more talented than I, which is fantastic. Some really great people involved. A former women's national team captain, which is truly inspiring for these players. The next thing that we do, we've created a long list from all players across the country, really working with the provincial coaches and university coaches, not just deciding ourselves. And then next week I'll go out to Saskatoon and at the National U20 Championships, and we'll select our team. We'll meet together on August 3rd, and off we'll go to a camp base in Acadia University, which is lovely, and we'll be together for about 2.5 weeks.
Now, of course, you do have a say, obviously, being head coach, of who makes this Canadian U20 squad. So many players to choose from, but because you have such close connection with all of the players at the Nova Scotia level, are some of your senior women now trying to get your ear and saying, hey Jack, you know, I'd be a real good choice for Team Canada?
I think they're actually very surprised that their strange coach, who has I suppose a weird personality, is now leading a national program. There was a couple of girls who were just asked pretty honest questions. What I got to do to make your squad, and it's a little bit hard for me because to pick a Nova Scotia player, I got to make sure that they are the best, and they any player is the best. But I think when you decide that the Nova Scotia player is better than somebody else, they'll be a little bit harder scrutinised. So I'm excited to go next week to Saskatoon, and I'm really excited to see the Nova Scotia under-20 team play as well as everybody. And I'd love if a Nova Scotia player put their hand up and said, I'm the best in the country and I want to wear that maple leaf.
And it's been wonderful times for rugby right across this region, not only with what's happening at the provincial level, but nationally as well, but even internationally. A big moment a few weeks ago, the first ever international test match at a senior level held in Halifax, as Team Canada took on Team USA at a revamped and re-energized Wanderers grounds. Of course, you talked about the tri-countries tournament taking place with England, the US, and Canada next month down in Wolfville. But how does that make you feel when you see such high-profile rugby taking place, and then you see these wonderful events like an Atlantic Championship, the Eastern Canadian Championships coming up? What does that do for you in terms of what you're doing to build this program?
It's a busy summer. I think the test match was something that it was always in our grasp. It was always something that we were excited to be a part of, and I think when you see how fantastic a location the Wanderers ground is, how everyone in Atlantic Canada completely embraced having the test match, and from the players' point of view, they want to come back. It was such incredible East Coast hospitality, and they really enjoyed it, and the atmosphere was electric, and it's something that hopefully rugby is now on the minds of the people of Atlantic Canada, and it'll grow the game as best it can.
Well, you make a really good point, because there's no question that you're trying to grab the attention of the fan, and their attention can be sometimes toward hockey or towards football or towards whatever. But having events like that, and to your point about the atmosphere, I was in Halifax for the better part of that day, and hours, Jack, before the match even took place, before opening kickoff, in the heart of downtown Halifax, you could see the excitement. Fans were wearing their kits, were wearing their colors, they had their scarves on. You could feel it in the streets. And then, as you said, at the Wanderers grounds itself, it was absolutely electrifying to see 6,000 plus at that location, a historic location in Halifax. For you personally, the rugby hat aside, just as a fan, how did it feel for you that day?
Well, I only live about 4 minutes up the road, so it was a pretty nice feeling walking down to have a world-class atmosphere with two international caliber teams. That was an awesome feeling. I think everybody who went, whether they know rugby or they don't know rugby, had a great time, and that's what a rugby event does. And I think we all know that, those of us, and look around here at the amount of people and parents and fans that have come just to support their region or their province. It's something that we really pride ourselves on, is the rugby culture, and I think the rugby culture was certainly at a plus point that day.
Well, there was no question about it. It was an exciting atmosphere, and I think very exciting times ahead for rugby, not only in Canada but definitely in the Atlantic region. And what's happened with and what Sports and Entertainment Atlantic has done with the leadership of Derek Martin and Chris Larson, I think is only going to keep growing. We look forward to see what's going to be happening in the future. And right now, in the present, it's the Celtics who are having one whale of a game here. There's a nice long pass, a couple of quick touches there, and another run straight to the end zone. That's something else that I've seen here with these Celtics players today, that when they see a couple of passes, when one of the players up front sees an opening, sees daylight, they have no problem making a dash and trying to get to that end zone.
Yeah, the skills have been really impressive. As Brennan goes up that touchline again, she's been hugging that touchline all weekend and has been doing it in such a fantastic manner. Good quick ball here, and that's exactly the rugby that they want to play. Really nice quick passes, and Maddie Ross goes in, and that's or I think it might even be Victoria Strub. Really good rugby there. Just a little tip pass by Emma McDougall, and that's a good start from the Celtics, who already had an excellent first half.
The other point would be, at the half, after the first half that the Celtics had, putting up 43 points and you know, having such control over the match to that point, what kind of message can you deliver as the coaching staff on the sideline? Because you don't want them to let down, but you also don't want them to kind of, I guess, create bad habits because they've got the big lead.
Yeah, I mean, they're setting goals. This team is trying to build. They're obviously in the gold medal game now tomorrow with the results of this morning and yesterday. So they want to make sure, every squad member probably wants to start more than anything else. They want to, and that's an excellent kick.
That's a great kick.
Jessica McPherson, who's just come onto the field, continuing off from Katie Cox. But as we said, head coach Mary Giles will make sure that they're really having the ability to just create goals and to make sure that they keep this tempo up. They want to win that gold medal tomorrow, and everybody wants to start in that final game or have a role.
Conversely, on the other sideline, you're on the PEI sideline, and you have your team come over. You know they're competing. You know they want to do well, but things didn't go their way in the first half. What can a message be from a coaching staff to a side coming over after 20 minutes where they were kind of dominated?
Sure, I mean, points difference might come into this. There's 4 teams. They've already got a win. So depending on what's happening on the other field, this PEI team is still has a chance at getting to the gold medal game, and that's got to be something that they want to be a part of.
So that kick low along the ground, picked up there by Katie Cox. PEI tries to get in there quickly on defense. In taking a look for PEI is Erin Arsenault-Gallant, who's played well for PEI this weekend. But now into the open field, there is the beast. It's Justine Blatt-Janmat again. And she's in for the try. And again, just a huge open field run. And when she sees the opening, I don't think there's many players out there going to catch Justine.
It was actually a similar try to how she scored last night in the senior women's game. She came off the bench for her own coach, Mandy Wells, who's bringing the tea on in your screens right there, as a high five went to them. And I think it's time for Justine to go off. She's got a lot of rugby to play tomorrow as well. So they've just pulled her, and a nice time to come off in your hat trick. But similar, she just takes dominant. She's so quick, she's so strong, and she's certainly one that is not only a big future for Nova Scotia, but actually I think has a big future for Canada.
Well, that's pretty heady praise coming from Jack Hanratty indeed, and the conversion is good, so 2 more on.
Really happy with Jessica McPherson's goal kicking there. Really worked hard in it, playing high school rugby, and it's great to see her again continuing, which was a pretty good goal kicking display by Katie Cox.
So PEI again have to come up toward midfield and kick that ball off one more time. Jill Clark giving some PEI mates. That ball taken in the air by Cox. Trying to get a hand on it there was Aaron Arsenault-Gallant for PEI. Ball down to the ground. They'll see if they can get a ruck to form here. Try to get something going out of that ruck. Picked up there off the ground by the Celtics. They'll try to charge it up the field again. Going down to ground there was Hannah Myers.
Yeah, just a bit of, and that hasn't happened all day. Just a little lack of skill there, a little lack of communication on who's taking that ball. But has taken 3 kickoffs in a row and has done a really great job since she's come on, securing possession and keep it rolling. So maybe we'll get PEI to have an opportunity at interesting, they're putting the ball in the wrong side of the scrum here. There we go.
They picked up on that right away.
I think the referee was wondering why there was somebody in front of him. But PEI are now have a good attacking position. If they get this ball back, maybe they can have a go here and get a score on the board. That's something that will be important for the Abbeys here.
Maddie Clement puts it in, picked up out of the pile there by Julia Freeburn. Freeburn had an excellent game yesterday right here on this live stream. She was an outstanding performer for PEI. Something positive here now. That's what PEI is looking for. Trying to get control of that ball on the Nova Scotia Celtic side of the pitch.
Yeah, great 15 metres had, but a turnover. That was a really good couple of phases there. Starting off with an excellent ball from the back of the scrum, and the Abbeys have turned it over again. This is some good phase of play from the Abbeys.
It is. They are in there. They're digging hard. There's no question about it. They're trying to assert something here. Again, at this point, I think they know the outcome is not in doubt, but they can definitely build something positive here the last little bit of this second half. Good work there on the ground. Nice couple of offloads there. Nice little stutter step move in the middle. That ball high into the air. Taken smartly there as Jordan Leclerc came up to grab it.
It's good breakdown work again by the Celtics, and it looks like they might have turned it over here. Maggie Myers is in the middle. Ruck was formed, so it will be a penalty against the Celtics. Fair decision there by the referee.
So looking around is Hannah Anir. Anir, another player who's played well here for PEI this weekend. She wears 16 in the green and black.
Yeah, Hannah was also another player that was part of the Nova Scotia U18 team last year that went to Nationals to get that silver medal. Has been part of the PEI Abbeys program for a long time, so it's good to see her growing the centre.
So Jack, as you see the different programs here, the U16 Celtics, U18, and of course your senior women's team, so much positive happening here as we see the Abbeys from PEI all down there's in there again. But as you see all the different things happening with rugby, you know, what would be a couple of priorities for Rugby Nova Scotia over the next few years to maintain what they're doing and to see their programs grow, not only at the grassroots level, but right up through the seniors?
Yeah, I think it's middle school. That's what we're really trying. Junior high, we're delighted that the Halifax Regional School Board accepted rugby in the curriculum this year, and that was big for us. Getting players playing was really important. Parents seeing it as a real physical game, actually seeing it as a game where you're using your evasion skills.
Well, you know, one of the positives that we've talked about and we've really seen, you're seeing it across sports in general, but definitely here in rugby because it is such a physical sport, but the steps that are being taken by the officials and by the administrators of rugby to protect player safety, but certainly to look after potential concussion situations and to make sure that they're very proactive anytime there's even the thought that a player might be concussed, and making sure that they're going through the protocols. They're really taking steps to protect the players, and definitely in the head injury type of area.
Yeah, absolutely. Like our mantra is, if in doubt, sit the player out. And that's we've seen it here. And there's some players that are not confirmed concussions. It's a hard thing to confirm, but we leave it in doubt. We don't leave it in doubt. We make sure that the players get an opportunity to rest, and they'll go to the World Rugby Return to Play protocol, and that's what a couple of players have had to do this weekend. And just as a precaution is a major thing.
Just got a tweet sent out from one of our viewers. I'll show that to you to read or to comment on anyway.
Yeah, I think don't worry, Matt Durant is certainly here to have a look at the talent that Acadia will be getting next year.
Just got a tweet from Bleeding Blue on Twitter. Big shout out to number 24, Haley Noss. Hoping Matt Durant gets to watch her. And you're right. There's a few coaches, I think, here checking out some of this talent this weekend.
And why wouldn't they? And I think adding the under-16 division is a huge positive for all things rugby in the Atlantic. Getting some girls some extra experience, and there's been some great U16 battles over the last 2 days, and the gold medal game tomorrow will be another exciting one.
So we've got a scrum over on that far side of the field. PEI scrum. Maddie Clements puts it in. They get it up out of that scrum as it was hooked back nicely. Over on that far sideline now, trying to make a move over on the side with Stella Calusi. And it goes out of bounds, well over on that far side of the pitch.
Better facet of play though from PEIs. They've had a much better second half in terms of both in defence and holding on in attack, and a good ball here, and they've got an advantage too.
Yeah, they definitely have tightened up just a little bit here in this second half. And that's the thing. I mean, you want to be able to build through the game and finish strong and have something to take away and something to build on when you're looking at the game film afterwards. I mean, the end result not going to be in doubt from who's going to win and lose, but still, as you mentioned, lots to accomplish here for this PEI side.
Yeah, and lots of positives there.
Nice little offload there to keep it alive for PEI. Here's a good run into the open field. Down they go. It's Erin Arsenault-Gallant. A good run there, and she takes it in.
That's an excellent try, and she took that really well. A great pace by her, and that's an important reward for what's been a really good last 6-7 minutes for the Abbeys.
Well, I know in other games that we've covered so far the last 2 days, it's not the first time that on these broadcasts we've called out 13 in black and green for PEI U18, Erin Arsenault-Gallant, and she showed some great there as she had a couple of Celtics players trying to catch up to her from behind but just couldn't get there. So an excellent try from Arsenault-Gallant, and the conversion attempt trying to hook it into the wind, Madison Voss just couldn't get it through, but a positive indeed as some good phases the last few minutes from these U18 PEI players, and they're rewarded with a try.
Yeah, it's excellent, and they put together a lot of phases. Good first phase from the line out, getting over the gain line, and an excellent outside break by the outside centre.
So we're working our way down to the end of this second half. We'll have to wait and see how things shake out in terms of seedings, but as you mentioned, by strength of their play this weekend, this game included, these U18 women's Celtics will be in tomorrow's gold medal game, as will the men's U18 Celtics. So a pretty successful weekend so far for the host side, Nova Scotia Celtics.
Yeah, it's nice. Our U16 boys will be in the semi-final tomorrow against New Brunswick, hoping to get into the gold medal game. The U18 guys have qualified, the U18 girls have qualified, and the senior women's will be playing PEI for the gold medal as well. So some nice things, and our U16 girls will be going for gold as well. So everyone's still in with a chance, but it's been a really great few days. I think just playing quality games and getting to represent your province from every provincial team is a really great thing.
Another nice run there from Arsenault-Gallant for PEI. Not much time left here in this second half. Celtics now will look to reestablish once again. Ruck forms there along the ground, but quickly picked up by the Celtics. They'll move it now. Nice little pass there just off the fingertips. Recovered well, but the play whistled down by the referee. A little bit of a mishandle there by the Celtics as Thomas came over to pick it up. And for young viewers that are watching this, or parents that are watching this that might be interested in getting their kids involved at a young level and get them, into youth rugby, what are a couple of real kind of foundational things and grassroots things that you want to focus on and learn when you're just getting into the game?
Yeah, we pride ourselves on fundamental movement skills. We want kids to play as many sports as they can. We want them to learn hand-eye coordination, all the FMS. We want to make sure that players don't just play one sport, that they get to grow in all their abilities, because it doesn't matter. You could fall in love with a sport, especially like rugby. So all these players only started playing probably at the earliest of 16, 15. So you got to learn a brand new sport pretty early on, and hopefully parents do see that the focus isn't just a big physical contact game. It's evasion, it's keeping the ball alive, it's kicking, it's a tactical game, and it's one that when played well, and I think it has been over these last few days, it's really great to watch.
Strong move made over there by Thomas on that far sideline. $57-5 is your score. Celtics came out very explosive in that first half, built up a 43-0 lead at the half. PEI kind of dug in a little bit more here in this second half and have given the Celtics a bit more of a challenge. PEI does have a try in this half. Trying to hook that ball back out of the scrum. Comes to the Celtics now. They'll work it up. Get another ruck formed, but again, the Celtics so quick to get that ball out of there.
Good leg drive there by Emma McDougall.
Yeah, very powerful core from McDougall. Celtics move it up the field again. In there trying to give some support was Amy Reno. Now they'll work it back the other way. There's a quick pass over out of the hands of Jessica McPherson. Down into the corner. Quick offload there. Nice offload into the end zone for the try. That was a smart play, and I believe it's Victoria Straub who is the recipient of that final nice pass.
It's not been awarded. I can't believe it. It's a forward pass.
And they're gonna say it was knocked on.
It was a forward pass there in the last play. That's it. That was probably the proudest part of the game for me. It was a four phase move there, and they executed it fantastically. And I know Mary disappointed just as much as myself in terms of the not being rewarded with a score.
Well, the score being called back on the forward pass aside, as you said, that was just some lovely ball movement through all phases, and some really nifty little passes in there to allow the Celtics to keep that ball moving down the field. Just when you thought that PEI might have stopped it up with some defensive pressure, somehow some of those Celtic players were able to find teammates in the order of the pass to keep it going. However, the end result was it was called back on the forward pass, but some positives to take out of that.
Yeah, absolutely. They'll really enjoy looking at that in the video. That's when not only do you look at the video for negatives, you want to see the positives and the things that you've been working on at practice. You want to see them come off, and that's what just happened there.
And again, as the ball carrier goes to ground, just the great offload now. Kenzie Cicchetto works it up.
She had a great weekend for me. Kenzie has been was captain of our under-17 team last year, so she's had a really great weekend for her for the U18s.
Nice cutback made there by Haley Noss. Haley got the shout out on Twitter earlier, and she made a nice little move there. Went to the right, juked back to the left, and made a nice cut toward the end zone.
Again, a Celtic in her first year, Haley. It's great to see her perform so well and up to the high standard that she wanted to as well.
Well, by my unofficial count, not a whole lot of time left in this second half.
PEI running it, obviously, probably the referee said it might be the last play, so they wanted to give it one more kick at the can.
Down to ground there goes Danielle McDonald. Turns it over now. Quick move from McDougall as she got it off to her mate on the side. And that play called by the referee.
Crossing, I think, or just making one up. Thomas Krebs, he'd be known to just making a couple of things up. And
creative refereeing.
Listen, we'll say a number right now, Scott, and we'll see. So number 4. Let's just say the number 4.
Okay.
Thomas, if you do video review on your own games, you'll come back and quote myself and Scott at the number 4.
I guess that's another thing, is that the match officials, they want to review what they've done as well.
God, I hope so. No,
Good-hearted ribbing from Jack Hanratty towards the referees.
Listen, I always give them stick, but it's always in good-hearted. It's amazing having so many officials, not only from Nova Scotia, but coming from all over. As far as Quebec here today, we got Newfoundlanders, we got New Brunswick guys, we got PEI, and that's really important. It not only brings our age male and female athletes, but it also brings our referees together, and hopefully with the rugby getting better, our referees too as well. It's such an important, integral part of our game.
Here comes a nice run now coming right toward us on this near side. PEI getting one last gasp here, and look who it is. No surprise, it's Arsenault Gallant. What a run, trying to go coast to coast. Just caught from behind as Maddie Ross got there, but Arsenault Gallant electrifying again for Prince Edward Island.
Yeah, I mean, great tracking back there by Maddie Ross. Just a little bit high though, so the Celtics have got to turn because PEI are right there and they should be able to just claim over here. Heather Staunton with a big tackle. They're not over yet, but I think they might be now.
Right at the corner, wait for the signal.
Try awarded.
And it is indeed. So again, PEI in the waning moments of this game fight right back and put more points on the board. So that gets them to double digits now with 10 on the board.
Yeah, great finish, and you got to say it came from a breakaway. Well played, and again, 13 just showing a real pace. She's been an attacking threat all day, and could be a reason why they keep growing in this game.
So with that try, I know there can't be a lot of time left here. Maybe this conversion kick, and then that might be just about it. And this, again, you see that flag right next to the conversion attempt, and the wind just kind of picked that up and drilled it down into the ground. So I believe that is full time. So the fans off to our right here on the sidelines, giving a round of applause to both of these teams, both squads now. We'll shake hands, but at the end of this one, 40 minutes done, full time, a pretty complete performance by the Nova Scotia U18 women as they come out storming, put 43 on the board in the first half, and then kind of cruise. A little bit of pushback from PEI as they got their legs underneath them in the second half, but at the end of it all, it's a 57-10 victory for the Nova Scotia Celtics. They will play for gold on Championship Sunday tomorrow, and our thanks to Jack Hanratty from Rugby Nova Scotia, also newly minted coach of the U20 women's squad for Team Canada. Final thoughts on this one, Jack? Of course, we'll get you to talk about the Celtics in a minute, but final thoughts on a very game effort from PEI.
I thought an excellent second half performance. Defense, like you saw, the Celtics came out really hard in the first half, but you got to be honest with a fantastic second half effort from PEI, and they're still in with a shot of getting to the gold medal game, and it'll probably be their aim here.
Well, to your point, if you take away the first half and you just go by the second half, it was 14-10 Celtics in that second half. So much better result for the PEI squad in half number two. And as we wrap up, just some thoughts on this Celtics U18 squad as they get set now to go for gold tomorrow.
Yeah, they're growing and growing. The great thing you see is the under 16s that have promoted up, have come through the system, and they're a strong side, and hopefully they'll come in with the same vigor and with the same aggression as they did today. So looking forward to seeing them in a gold medal game tomorrow.
So on behalf of Brian Fisher, our man up top on camera, and of course the legend Jack Hanratty, thank you so much, Jack. Really a pleasure to have you on the broadcast today. Always great to get your insights on the game, and again, thanks for all you do for rugby in Canada, but certainly in Nova Scotia as well. I'm Scott Squires. We're going to step aside for a little bit. Our next game coming your way in just a little bit of time. Keep it right here on the. Once again, your final score in women's U18 action: Nova Scotia Celtics defeat the PEI squad 57-10. We'll be back in just a little bit. You're watching the 2018 Atlantic Canadian Rugby Championships live from Truro, Nova Scotia.